Hey there berries, welcome to the support 14.3 tier list. As usual, what we do in these tier lists is that we go through the support direct changes in the patch notes, and then we go into the tier list and then I showcase my thoughts and where champions are currently going to be in the 14.3 patch. Before we get into that though, we'll just like to say if you are a tier 3 sub on Twitch at the moment for February, and giving free coaching sessions for those tier 3 subs. Already covered a few on the YouTube channel already. There's already been like a Malai and a Morgana and a Seraphine and a Zyra coaching sessions already post up onto the YouTube channel. There's more to come, and yeah, do keep a lookout. So if you are wanting me personally to look at one of your games for about an hour and go through all the good things and bad things that you've done in the game, be sure to be a tier 3 sub and follow the instructions when you type the !! coaching thing in the Twitch chat. So if you do ! coaching in the Twitch chat, it'll give you all the instructions that you need. It will require you going onto Discord basically and then setting up a couple of things in order to have that free coaching session. Anyway, back to the actual tier list and the patch notes. So in the actual patch notes, we have a couple of support changes. We have the brand nerf, but that is more directed towards jungle. So if you are brand main, you didn't have to worry too much about that. The karma nerf, which is actually quite significant for, it says they're top and mid, but actually impacts support as well considerably. We've got buffs going to Pike, Teemo, which is, I say that hesitantly because Malignance is getting nerfed a little bit. And a Zyra change, which doesn't really impact support too much, I don't think. So I think Zyra mains are okay there. So we're going to the first one. The first one being the brand change. The main one that might affect support really is this Blaze no longer deals more than 2% max health damage over a simple application. That I'm assuming is a bug regarding jungle clearing rather than actual from champions. So I don't know, there could be a bug here where it might be affecting like Giga tanks a little bit. So even though brand's an anti-tank, it could be affecting that a little bit. So if there's someone with an absurd amount of HP. But yeah, minor nerf to brand overall. Like here in the bottom, you got minus 10 damage on your Q. But overall, brand is still going to be a really solid pick going into this next patch. Going down, Ezreal is getting nerfed, but the items for him are getting buffed again slightly. So Ezreal was pretty strong, just so that you know, but now he's like should be slightly more balanced. The Karma one is the big one here. So this is the RQ nerf is going down basically by 20% on the AP ratio. And then if you look at the Soul Flare damage, also base damage, you got +5 damage on base. But yeah, after that, it's like nerfed pretty significantly. Like if you manage to make it to level 16, you're actually losing 40 base damage there, and then on top of the 20 AP. So yeah, like Karma ulti, basically like the best kind of build really for Karma was like AP Karma. But now like the AP items are also getting slightly changed as well. Karma is kind of going back to her old ways of just being only a laning phase bully. And then honestly, after that, it's just, yeah. She had one patch where she was pretty good, and this is a massive giga change to her mantra stuff. So now she's having to go back into scuffed enchanter mode, which she isn't really good. Well, there's best better enchanters, right? So if you want to play enchanter, you play other enchanters. She's still going to be really annoying lane bully for like the first 10 minutes of the game, but after that, she's just going to fall off. So unless you're like giga ahead at 10 minutes, then it won't matter because you'll just lose, unfortunately. Maokai, I can't remember if I mentioned Maokai earlier, but I don't think I did. So Maokai, significant looking. The key word there is looking. They look significant, but actually overall I don't think they're going to be too bad. I think Maokai is still actually going to be really strong. But yeah, as I've basically said, he's like the #1 support right now in terms of win ratios. Across the majority of ELOs. I think in Plat it was something ridiculous like 55% win rate or something. Really high win rates. He will go down a win rate a little bit for sure with this, but he's still gonna be like really good. He might still actually be the best tank going into this patch still. So if you've been enjoying playing Malai, or if you're thinking about picking up Maokai, then you can still do that. So the mana regeneration nerf, the passive being kind of is that scaling going up slightly from 12% to 12.8%. Nothing really too much to note there really. Bramble Smash cooldown is getting reduced, so you can use it more in lane. Basically they're designating it for like top and jungle, so you can use your Q more, so it costs less mana, and you can press your Q button more often, which will still benefit support Maokai in terms of like if it's a slightly prolonged fight. You know, 7 seconds isn't a particularly long time. You could probably get like 2 Qs from that in most fights, so Q initially and then again in 7 seconds time. You'll have a little bit of CDR anyway, so you were maxing your Q anyway, so getting that down to 5 seconds relatively quickly anyway, it's not really a big deal, it's just whatever really. Sapling nerf on the cooldown is probably maybe the biggest nerf really to the Maokai thing, because getting saplings in the brush to be able to have extra vision, you weren't really getting much damage from that. The mana cost is going up slightly, but I wouldn't honestly say it's a massive game changer. You might feel the mana slightly because you got the mana regeneration nerf here, and then the saplings are going to be increased in cost, so you might not be getting as much lane safety potentially. Basically from this change I would say like don't just randomly always just like sapling the brush unless you've already got like a good amount of mana, like as in like the lane brush. But you can still make sure you got like a sapling in the river like early on, so you don't have to like face check it or potentially waste like war charges or whatever. So yeah. And then the ulti as well getting, you know, increased in cooldown. But once you put 2 points in, it's the same. It's not really a massive nerf, honestly. Yeah, I think Maokai is still going to be pretty good this patch. Carrying on. Going down into Pike. Pike is having some little buffs here. I don't know if this is going to be too crazy or not, but like the base 2 armor. So Pike was always pretty annoying, slipping away on low HP. So this is going to ensure that happens maybe slightly more often. Also, he got kind of cucked by the rune changes. So that's the stat rune pages with the armor being removed, and he doesn't really benefit much from health. Bone Skewer damage is going up on 80%. And also the mana cost is going down a little bit. So nice little minor buff there for the Q, nothing too crazy. Bonus movement speed coming from the W, flat, which means like having that a little bit more, level 1, so 5% more movement speed from the get-go is pretty nice. E as well, damage is going up when you put more points in the E, which is quite nice, going from more of a rounded number here, so 105 down to 100. But it goes 150, 200 through. So you'll still be doing Q max into E max, but once you finally get into more of that like round about like level 11, 12, 13, yeah, 10, 12, 13, getting more points in your E, you're going to start noticing more damage in the mid game. With the amount of burst that's in the game, I know they're looking to tune it down. Pike's had a lot of issues anyway because yeah, he slips away a lot and stuff, but because of the amount of burst anyway in the game, like team fights were very, very difficult for Pike to play around anyway because he would just die really, really quickly. Like this little extra bit of armor here helps and stuff, but we'll have to see really. I don't know. I don't think it's going to make a huge, massive impact to his win rate because he is incredibly squishy. If they were to increase his base HP here, maybe by like 30 or give him like more health per level or something here like that, that'd be more interesting. In terms of keeping him alive, but if they are going to tune down the damage from burst, Pike's relevancy does go up a tiny bit because it means that he's not going to get one shot. So something to think about going into like the future patches. If Pike doesn't get directly changed and then burst keeps going down, then Pike will probably see a bit more play. Shaco changes. I know there's probably like one person here that plays Shaco. Nothing too crazy. I don't think really. I know they bugged his ulti or something. I don't know if they fixed that or if that was like on live or not. I know there's a bug where Shaco's clone would stop auto attacking if you used a skill, like if you shivved or put down a box, which was a pretty big game changing bug. I'm not sure if that has been fixed. Yeah, it has been fixed, so that wasn't the current patch. So Shaco, I think, suffered a lot last patch because that didn't work, so that's now been fixed, but I don't think overall, I don't know. I've never really regarded Shaco support as much of a thing. I know its win rate's been generally okay, but that's because of one triggers really. Interesting Teemo Q quality of life change after 14 years. Teemo's Q blind should now immediately apply to hits targets hit by the Q, preventing Teemo from taking damage from an auto attack after the blind has been applied. So this actually makes Teemo support even stronger, particularly against those short range AD carries like the Vayne and the Draven, because I noticed when I was playing Teemo support a lot, even though they were blinded because they got like their projectile off first, they were able to still hit me for something like Draven axes. I would take like sometimes one Draven axe. Obviously I would help like, you know, nullify the other Draven axes coming through, but like you'd still get a hit sometimes by the initial hit. So this prevents that, and that actually makes trading significantly stronger in Teemo. So yeah, that's a really strong buff against like other ranged auto attacking champions. So this is a really big Teemo support buff actually. So keep an eye on that. Like it won't impact much against like Caitlyn, like the really long range ones, but short range AD carries is going to be really good. I think that's everything in terms of direct support. Oh no, Zyra, of course, the last letters of the alphabet, right to there. I wouldn't worry about this too much if you're a Zyra main and if you've read this already. So Zyra's mana regeneration is going down. But the regeneration is going up per level. Q mana is going down. So basically, like early on, you might have a little bit more mana issues, but I don't think it would be that bad, really. I think you can still probably rush Liandry's. I don't see a problem with that. So I think keep building the way that you've been building, like probably like what Liandry's into Rylai's or Liandry's into like a Shadow Flame into like a Void Staff. Like that's totally fine. Just keep doing that. You don't have to like necessarily build mana from this. So yeah, I think we're fine. If you're playing Zyra, you're fine. Also, quite an interesting thing here too with the W rampant growth. Playing support, you're last hitting minions sometimes with the World Atlas. So you're gonna get more Ws more often as well. So from last hitting. So it's technically like a minor buff here for support. They didn't list that here, but it's actually kind of a minor support buff because last hitting like kind of minions and stuff like that with World Atlas means more plants anyway. So it's been quite nice playing Zyra this season because of that. Going into the item changes, there are a couple of items here. Kaenic Rukun's getting nerfed, so magic damage is slightly better now. Also we have some AP items have been changed. Might as well talk about Seraph. So Seraph has got buffed. Sona's now going to be stronger with going the tier build. So tier build is looking really good now. Saving 100 gold. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty nice. It means that you can spike into that much. Well, might be over exaggerating slightly, but you know, a bit quicker. So definitely helpful there. But the more interesting one here is the Echoes of Hylia is getting buffed, but still huge question marks here because I don't know. I'm going to test this out on Nami, but overall Echoes of Hylia I've had massive issues with anyway. It doesn't work with Font of Life either, so it's just kind of like you have to completely rely on the spells that you're casting in order to get the Echoes of Hylia shard stacks. Overall, it's probably still going to be an absolute garbage item just because of the way the applications are done. But I'll be testing on Nami, and maybe the heals are actually crazy. But once again, the only champion that can use this is Nami. So yeah, this item in general is just pretty bad. I mean, it might work a little bit more on Seraphine support because of slows. But I think Nami is just the prime and only really user of echoes, and like there isn't. I don't know. I'll test it. I'll see if the heals are noticeable, but this item was pretty bad anyway. So literal double healing on the heal. The damage portion was never really much of a factor anyway, so I'll give it a test, but I don't have high hopes for it. Hextech Alternator also worth noting as well. Getting absolutely slapped. So Hextech Alternator is actually doing like even less damage, like considerably less damage. I know that's like level 18 levels, the 125, but like the 65 must, I don't know when that must kick in, but that must be like really low level kind of proc there. So Hextech Alternator getting hit there. Malignance as well. We talked about that slightly on Teemo, I think. Like, yeah, I think we did earlier on. It's a nerf, so gold cost is going down, so it makes it seem like a buff. Damage per second, the AP ratio on that is going down a little bit there, which is not great. And then also the magic resist is also being flat. So that's actually like this part here is a minor buff for Teemo, giving him an extra 1 to 2 penetration there. But this is the one I'm a bit more concerned about, is about the extra dot damage going down. So it feels more like it's not like significant for sure, but this bit here is the one that I'm a bit more concerned about. But it being cheaper, it might offset that anyway, to be able to get into another core item quicker, getting into like Leandri's second item slightly quicker. So we'll see. But it feels like maybe a minor team enough. And plus every other champion's building that have been building Malignance. Other than that, I think that is everything. There's new skins and stuff. So we're going to the tier list. Let's have a look at the tier list. We have a lot of champions now in tier 5. I've kind of cleared it out a bit. I used to have a few champions in tier 4 lingering, saying like, yeah, maybe you can play this if you're really competent on them or whatever, but now I just moved a lot of them down. I've moved Seraphine down, Hui down, and Ludo down. I think that was it, but those are in the garbage tier right now. Just don't play them. I know I did a Seraphine support game recently and won. I know I did a coaching session for someone who's been saying Seraphine, and to be honest, that person also has been doing really well in solo queue. Mainly because my coaching is so awesome, right? But just don't play it, man. It's just so many better options, really. If you really want to play Seraphine, I'd recommend more as an AP carry, but yeah, generally I would not really bother. Going up into tier 4, Karma was in tier 2, now she's got Giga slapped into tier 4. So yeah, nothing really else to talk about there. We've already talked about her a lot. Thresh moved down to tier 4 with the Nautilus. They're both doing really badly right now in solo queue. I don't really want to waste too much time on these champions that are just not doing very well. Tier 3, keeping an eye on Pike here. I was considering moving him down to tier 4 because he's not been doing too great, but there's a good chunk of buffs there for the Pike, so that might just keep him in tier 3 still. I don't expect much more from him. Seraph moved down into tier 2 to tier 3. I think I've pushed down a lot of champions down into like tier 3 to below now. Soraka and Lux having a tough time also right now. Healing, but I mean the burst damage in the game is too high, so Soraka's dying too quickly or struggling to get the heals quick enough on a squishy target. As over time, Soraka's win rate might go up though because the burst has been taken away, so she might naturally go back up. In theory, she should still be able to get into like tier 2 in the near future. So yeah. Senna, I might move into tier 4 soon at some point. I'm not fully comfortable recommending her really being played, so she's like, I don't usually do left to right in terms of power, but for Senna, I've been like, maybe I should move that into tier 4 just because I don't want to recommend people playing it too much. I think also AP carry playage right now has gone down as well because of the stat range changes on like the armor and magic resistances. So not as many people are picking up AP carries in the bot lane now. So the requirements of getting a Senna game is getting quite low now. Moving up into tier 2, we have the Nami. That's like the main one really. The brand also moved down from tier 1 to tier 2. Rakan also tier 1 to tier 2. Yeah, I've done a lot of moving down, honestly. Nami is one of the only ones that moved up there from tier 3 to tier 2. I think it's like a low tier 2 or a high tier 3. That's her like rough placing right now in my opinion. I think she's totally viable for solo queue. If Echoes of Hylia surprises me and does well, he will definitely be a solid tier 2 pick. It's just got to test it. If Echoes of Hylia is not great, she's more likely to be a tier 3 pick, and then she's like okay still, more as like played as an enchanter and a setup, rather than being like, her playstyle in lane is completely different. You used to be able to like poke a lot, but now you just can't. I do apologize for I need a haircut. Like I'm just looking at it all the time on my camera right now, and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, it's like 9 o'clock here at night, and I've been up for like 14 hours, but it's an absolute mess. So I do apologize. Anyway, tier 1. Enough about my hair. The bit that you've been waiting for. Janna, Sona, Zyra, Teemo, and Malai. I think these champions are just gonna like 3 of them. I'm extremely confident that are going to be very good picks for this patch. And that's the first 4, the Janna and the Sona, best enchanters in the game so far. Zyra, very confident that she's like absolutely still going to roll in the majority of ELOs. As always, by the way, I forgot to mention at the start, these tier lists are assigned for unranked to Emerald. If you're higher than that, then it doesn't change a huge amount, but hard engagers are slightly more valuable. But yeah, back on topic. Teemo, I think, should still do fine. I think the quality of life Q blind is severely understated in those patch notes. And yeah, I think you should keep an eye on that for sure. And we have the Malai. I don't know for sure if he's going to be tier 1. I'm feeling like his win rate was so high that he will feel like a little bit worse. But I don't think enough worse to actually put him down to tier 2. I think he was like the best pick in tier 1. Last patch, and now it's like, okay, he might not be the best tier 1 pick, but he's still going to be pretty good and probably the best kind of like tank. So if you want to play tank, play Malai. But I would be surprised, pun, if he doesn't get nerfed next patch as well though. So if you're already playing him, keep going. If you're already playing like Rakan or something else tanky down in tier 2, then just stick with that. I think Malai will get nerfed again. So yeah, hopefully this tier list helps you. If you are a tier 3 sub on Twitch, you can get that free coaching if you follow the instructions on the Discord or type !coaching in the Twitch chat. Thank you very much for watching the content, and I shall have more coaching sessions on the YouTube channel and more solo queue shenanigans. So all the best, guys. Take care. Hope this helps. Bye.